Hey, it is Maggie with another Soul Food Sunday, and Happy New Year tomorrow. And this is the last Sunday of this year, and I thought it appropriate to share a little known verse in the Old Testament in the book of Habakkuk. Now, how would you like to be named Habakkuk? And he's a prophet, and just these few verses, I believe, speak to us today. And God is speaking to this prophet because prophets often were, well, they were the men of God. God would speak to the prophet would share it with the people. But this says, and this is Habakkuk 2 2, and it says, God answered and said to him, said to the prophet, write the vision and make it plain on tablets, that he may run who reads it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it will speak and it will not lie. Though it tarries, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. Now, a lot of words there, but stick with me. The idea of tarry is something, it's taking a long time. Okay, that word. So when it says, though it tarry, it means you're waiting on it. Haven't and we different times we've had dreams about things, we've thought about things, someone has said, hey, I'm going to do this for you. And you're like all excited, but then it doesn't happen. And then it doesn't happen. And you're like, it's that idea of tarry. It's waiting for whatever reason. Maybe they're saying, I'm going to give you this, I'm going to do this for you. And you think it's immediate, but in their mind, they're just saying, no, I'm just going to do that for you. And it may be a few months, it may be a few years, it may be a long time. And then finally it comes to pass. But the idea is writing it down. So often we get a vision. Now, most of the time in the Bible, we're thinking vision, burning bush or something like that. But we get visions, we get ideas, we get things like someday I'll write a book. Someday I'm going to, I'd love to open an orphanage for kids in another country. I would love to give towards money to start wells on the mission field. A lot of times, God puts a vision on our heart. And so often we go, ooh, that's too hard. That's too big. I don't know how I would do it. And because of that, we give up on those dreams. But this is saying that often God gives us a vision that He wants us to take and run with it. And different versions have it written slightly different, but the idea is it says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time. Again, it may not happen right away. There may be something that's on your heart to do, but it may be, like I said, a year, it may be 5 years from now. The idea is God has a plan. And sometimes, not sometimes, probably most of the time, you're not the only person involved. And so there's you, there's this person, there's that person, and it's orchestrating all of these things to come into place so that it can happen at the appointed time. The important thing is that whether it's on a tablet, as they're talking about here, it's in a planner, that we write those things down. The idea is write them down, date it. So often, years later, you come back when you do get to that place of writing things down and you see things that you realize, my goodness, God said 2 years ago that I would be doing such and such. And then you're able to see Him work and Him move. As we go into a new year, begin writing those things. If you haven't been, write down those visions, big or small. Chances are, the bigger they are, the more crazy they are, the more likely they're God. Because He wants to do far more in us and through us than we can ever think, ask, or imagine. Our sights are small, but God's are huge. And so, no matter how crazy it seems, write it down because God is wanting to do amazing things in and through His people. It's sad to look at things out in the world and see people that even don't even know God doing wild and crazy, amazing, miraculous things when his own people are like, no, that can't be God. No, I don't have the skills. I don't have the talent. I'm too old. I'm too young. Let's stop saying that. And when God puts that thing, that little small mustard seed idea in our head, write it down. Because often what happens is you write it down and then it begins to grow. And all of a sudden, something else happens and you remember back to that thing you wrote down. And pretty soon you start seeing more and more and more. But if you never write it down, you won't see the miracle taking progress. And so think about it. Get that journal, get that notebook. Doesn't have to be fancy, but start writing down those visions and begin to expect to see God work in amazing, miraculous ways. Go find Habakkuk 2:2. It's almost one of the last books of the Old Testament. There's a message for each of us today. As always, take care, God bless, and come back tomorrow for a 5-minute Monday Mindset. God bless.